such an asshole.
Oh, Canada, America on easy mode. Where do I get my free moose and caribou and my glacier that I can carry to my abode? All right. Hello, Cabby. This is video request. Please do not mention my name in my email address. You can call me Albert Fish. All right. I am a younger man. He's in his 20s, a 20-year-old Kanakistani, fourth year electrical. Wait, are you from Pakistan then? Or are you just goofing around? Fourth year electrical engineering student slated to graduate with a 3.3 GPA. Not bad, not bad. By the end of summer 2021, my degree will have paid for itself. I will be working in my field full time while spreading my fourth year out over 2 years. Okay, so you got employment already with. That's good. That's good. It's nice. What do they pay you? $10,000 Canadian? Is that what the Canadians make? There was a time under, not John Howard, who Stephen Harper, which you guys all hated because he was a white man who was a conservative, libertarian, capitalist type. And you all had great economic growth, and the Canadian dollar was on par with the United States. Then he elected your socialist trust fund baby pussy, and now you have Pretty Boy Floyd, and now you... And I remember Canada was, it was a butt in the 80s, especially. Like, man, you guys suck. Holy cow. Like, you really drag. Mexico's doing better than you guys. And then it was like, whoa, look out, here comes the Canadian. Oh, we don't want any of that timber oil productive Albertan Saskatchewan people. No, let's all go sick some micro dick over in Quebec and Ontario. And then you went back to being really sucky Americans. No offense to you. So that's why I asked you, what, $10,000? Is that what you did? Huh? The Trailer Park Boys? Is that a documentary on all Canadian? I'm kidding. I'm just busting all the liberal leftist parasite people in Toronto. But you're doing very well. Joking aside. My savings are, as of now, $40,000 and should be approaching $80,000 in 12 months. Thank you, tax man, which has prompted me to start plans for moving out. My situation is urgent as I am a recovering idiot loser that previously did a 4-year industrial design degree. Oh, okay. I worked for a year in my field and realized the most important skill in creative jobs is sales, which I hate. Well, you didn't even have to go to school for sales. You just need nice teeth and a full set of hair. Like, hey, I'm Chazzer McChazerson. How you doing? With savings from manual labor summer jobs and money from a late grandparent, I put careful thought into my next steps to start an electrical engineering degree. Good. You'll be look. I know you think you wasted 4 years of your life, and you did. But you didn't drag it out like I did. Think like, I got to make this degree work. There's something wrong with my luck. No, your degree sucked, and you're smart going back, getting a real degree, and making your life a lot easier. My parents were very accommodating and provided free food and shelter. I thought the government provided that in Canada. While I am thankful for their help, as I could not have rebounded like this without it, I'm getting pretty sick of living with them, especially because they take every kurunka. I guess that's a COVID restriction to heart. I will respect their concerns as long as I'm living with them. Yeah, you have to. Well, at least you understand that. That's good. I'll be damned if I let arbitrary government restrictions squander the final drops of my youth, and I'm looking into the housing options below. Your perspective on which are better would be greatly appreciated. All right. Now, like a typical millennial Gen Zer, you give me all these options, you barf them out. Okay? None of the above. I'm going to just start right now. None of the above. The reason I'm intervening early is because you live at home. You have not really been, I don't want to say you haven't been an adult, but you have not struck out long-term as an adult. And before you buy a house, this is a mistake I made, before you buy a house, you ought to figure out where you want to live. Now, that is a decade-long process at least. Boomers, I'm sure you have Canadian boomers up there, they're just even more lame. Is there anything more lazy than a Canadian boomer? I mean, that's got to be pretty lazy. Trudeau. No, the first one. No, the guy in the 70s. Yeah, that made us the butt end of the joke and the entire Western Hemisphere. That guy, he's our hero. God, he looked weird. He looked like he was missing a chromosome or two. I don't know how his kid came out so good looking. Anyway, you're too young and you're too inexperienced to know where you want to live. And with housing prices as they are, yes, over the long term, they're only going to go up, but hyperinflation will kick in. Don't worry. I don't think you're ready to buy a house yet, dude. You haven't even become a professional yet, and you live at home. All right. And so you got to go travel around Canada. I would strongly recommend Alberta and the Canadian Rockies and British Columbia, Smithers. I would avoid Prince George. I didn't like it too much. There's some just Salmon Arm, Castlegar, Revelstoke. Now, I know most of them are tourist towns and everything, but my gosh, you got some beautiful stuff out there. So I recommend you do a reconnaissance in Canada, which I don't have a book for. But you don't know where you're going to live. And also, I will introduce the second concept about home ownership. It's not an issue of time. It's an issue of conditions and circumstances. You need a stable job. You need to know that you're going to be at a place for a long time. Like, oh my gosh, do I love Kamloops? Oh boy, I love it. It's warmer than average. Technically desert, I think. The mountains are right over there. Great motorcycle riding. Big enough town. They got a Walmart and they got some mechanics over here in town. There's no icebergs, unlike the rest of Canada. I want to be in Kamloops after searching a lot, working many places. Boy, I'm going to put my stakes in Kamloops. Then you buy a house. Or, oops, Dad, I got a girl pregnant and she won't have an abortion, even though she votes left for Labour Party over in Canada, or the guy with the funny hat from East India who just came there. Hey, Canadians, give me free money. I'm a Marxist. And you're racist if you don't. That guy. And she wants to bring the kid to term. Then you got a kid, then you got a family, right? Then maybe you think about getting a house. But for a single guy, usually home ownership is not the way to go. Usually not. Of course, it's always contingent on that individual house. I mean, you could find a house for a great steal, and then you'd be compelled, oh, you'd be a fool not to buy this. But I mean, that's not normally the case. So I would let your life circumstances and determine when you buy a house, predominantly if you're going to have a family. But unless you were going to have a family, the next thing would be, did you find out where you really want to live? And it seems like you're rushing into this. And no offense to you, you haven't been a man long enough. You live at home. And you need to go work for at least and I made this mistake. I bought a house in Minneapolis. Should have never done it. I would have had probably twice my net worth now if I just didn't buy my house in Minneapolis, threw my money in the S&P 500, rented dude, I had a place I was paying $333 a month for up until 1999? 1999. Admittedly, it was quite some time ago. I was paying $333 a month. And I would have come out way ahead of, and with a lot less pain and agony and hassle and maintenance and repairs and labor, fixing up a house, cutting wood, all that other stuff. If I just stayed in my little studio apartment, I would have come out way ahead. Way ahead. So you're giving me options. I'm going to turn them all down. But here are your options. Buy a house, detached, semi-detached townhouse, $500,000 to $800,000. Pros. Only cost of property tax, mortgage payments, and maintenance that can be done at my discretion. Could be a do-it-yourselfer. Most monthly housing-related expenses would be building equity. Cons. I'd be buying in the worst time in recent history. Could even get worse. The Canadian real estate markets is pants on the head, retarded. Average prices are 30% over the past year. And Big Daddy government says he'll stop any possible correction. Okay. Well, don't worry. They'll make money. Printer go burr. I love it because you guys have the Labor Party out there. No, I'm sorry, the Liberal Party. My mistake, the Liberal Party. We're going to make sure housing prices stay high. Doesn't that hurt poor people who don't own homes yet, would like to afford a house? But you guys hired the world's biggest trust fund baby pussy as your president. And I do mean that more than George W. Bush Jr. I'd be house poor, putting most of my spare income into necessary housing. I can only find reasonably high housing prices akin to those in pre-Karunka in poor, high crime towns 2 hours away from where I live. No. You don't live where there's high crime. And forget about you getting shot or assaulted or having your stuff stolen. I'm thinking more like disease. No, it's not worth it. No. Buy a condo, $350,000 to $550,000. Pros, smaller down payment than a house. No need to worry about maintenance. Also building equity. Cons, exorbitant monthly maintenance fees for shit I could do myself on top of mortgage payments. Yep. Living closer to other Canadians, some of whom are more likely snitch on me to governmental authorities if I dare to have a couple friends over. Could happen. Affordable condos are in very seedy areas where shootings are not. No. You're lying. Canada bans guns, and you guys have got gun control down. There are no shootings in Canada, just people flinging clubs and frozen turds of caribou. It's like David and Goliath. You get a frozen caribou turd and you put it in that sling and you throw it and you hit somebody upside the head. Another caribou turd slaying in Montreal in January. This turd extra special hard frozen because we know that Canada is the perfect place with gun control, just like Chicago and California. Set up manufactured home on a purchased vacant lot, not in the trailer park, 160, 200. Pros, cheapest buying option of which I know. Manufactured home price of 9 increase home. Semi-rural lot, monthly expense buying house. Cons, land would have to be hooked up to utility septic, run an extra 30 to 45,000. Well, I mean, from a cost benefit perspective, that's still cheaper than anything else you've listed. If it takes 40 grand to get you utilities, fine. Have them dig their holes. And you're not living in a Marxist leftist shithole. Ladies might think I'm gross, weirdo. Stop thinking about women. Women do not factor into any of your, please guys, stop factoring women into any of your decisions. That's only half true. I have no advice to draw upon. I don't know anyone who's done this, and all the boomers say I'm crazy for considering it. So if the boomers said it's bad, then it has to be good. Just because what? The boomers know what? The boomers got their shit together? My favorite is I'll get a young man, usually, every rare once in a while, a young lady, but usually a young man of a minority race. All my family is telling me not to do. I thought about it. I thought I'd join the military. The GI Bill sounds pretty good. I thought I'd go major in engineering. And all my family said I'm crazy and I'm an Uncle Tom. And I'm like, is your family rich? No. Family live on Section 8? Yeah. Do you want to be like your family? No, I won't listen to your family. No, not genius asshole consulting, pretty loud, but still asshole consulting nonetheless. Like, don't listen to poor people. How about that? How about don't listen to losers? Don't listen. Oh, yeah, the boomers. Like they're Bain Consulting. So far out of all the options you give me, I like this one the most because you would be building up equity over time. You own the land. It's cheap living, blah, 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 blah. You're not hanging out with leftists. It sounds like you don't want to be hanging out with leftists. Sounds like you don't need to be downtown where all the action is. And I don't know what the manufactured home market is like in Canada, but I'm going to assume it's not too different than the United States, but it's, if I were to do it, I'd buy the land. Not a bad idea. I mean, by the way, if the land price goes down, you can't sue me because I'm going to tell you right now, land prices can go down. But from a cash flow perspective, you buy the land, you sit on it for 30 years. It will not go up in value, but it will keep up with inflation. It will generally go up in price. Put some little rinky-dink piece of crap house on it, build the utilities up there. It's just you being a bachelor. Then down the road, okay, you sell it to someone who wants to actually put a real house there. You take the proceeds and off you go. But I'm still not for that because you don't know where you want to live. You don't even know who you are. You're not even graduated from college with a real degree anyway. Property will likely not appreciate very much. The land will. Might take longer to sell. Rural internet might be bad, making remote work difficult. I think that might change over time. I had the similar issue moving out to South Dakota. Rent an apartment, no roommates, $1,000 to $1,500 a month. Pros, small sunk cost, minimal planning, blah, blah, blah. Cons, if I go cheap, I'd be spending around $12,000 privilege of living in a bed bug and cockroach infected. Oh, in a greasy area? Oh. Similar cons to the condos, I'd be living very close to other Canadians through them on streams. Following constraints apply to my decision-making process. I don't want to move more than 2 hours away from my city. You hate Canadians, but then you don't want to be too far away from Canadians. Choose. My current job is done remotely, could potentially remain that way, but this is not a certainty. At least 70% Canadians are unbearable to me. You live in the Marxist piece of shit hole of Canada, which is that eastern part. Here's what I want to recommend, dude. You're going to do some reconnaissance, and now is the perfect time to go because it's spring. Get your ass out to Alberta, go to Banff, Jasper, British Columbia, Alberta, Edmonton, although that's going to get a little cold. Kamloops, Prince George if you want. Smithers was a great town, but I'll tell you right now, it's a tourist town. Even Vancouver, maybe. You need to get out of your little hole you've lived in your entire quarter century plus life and see what else is out there, because Canada's got some wonderful, beautiful places. And if you Castlegar, Salmon Arm, Revelstoke, great place. Well, Revelstoke's pretty high up in the mountains, so it's going to get cold, obviously. Panorama, go west, young man, and travel. While we have the great and merciful Corona Chan, make it that you can work remotely, grab your laptop, get in a car, and drive out there now. Whatever money you got, drive out there now and explore and figure out where you'd like to go. And keep in mind, the higher up you go and elevate, like Banff is great. Yeah, Banff is a little high up there. It gets a little cold. Go west. And I'll be directly honest. This is not me slamming on Eastern Canadians. The superior, better Canadians live in the Western provinces. It's kind of like the United States. The parasitic Marxist leftist shit asses live in the coasts. Although your entire coast is Vancouver, that's about it. Then Canada comes down and takes the rest of the coast. Your Quebecs, your Torontos, you're on what's the others? There's Toronto, Quebec. Why can't I think of the other major Canadian city? Fuck them. They all suck Marxist dick. Fuck those assholes. Go to where real men and women are. Get to Alberta. Saskatchewan, I mean, I like Regina. Don't get me wrong, but I thought North Dakota was flat until I rode my motorcycle up there. I'm like, oh my God. I would get to Alberta and British Columbia and go travel around this summer and then revisit whether or not you want to buy here or your life plans in general. I have a feeling that will provide you much more insight. Don DeMarco. Is this the guy that everyone does the sounder for? Fresh and Fit and what's his name? Rolo. All right. Bob Poop, $5 Canadian, 21-year-old in Toronto. I will never buy a house in Canada. I will never pay for a boomer's retirement. There you go. Well, you are, because your good buddy Trudeau is going to tax the living shit out of you. British Columbia is beautiful, Squamish, but they're nuts over here. Shut down again. Yeah, see, I mean, if you can, Alberta is where you want to go provincial-wise. Vancouver dictates the rest of the politics of British Columbia. All right, that's it. Questions, answers, assholeconsulting.com. See you guys.